The morning after we screamed ourselves hoarse, I found a wedding invitation addressed to my boyfriend, except he wasn't the groom. He was the one marrying someone else, and there it lay, centered on the kitchen table, right next to my parents' RSVP card, signed with their usual flourish. I just stared, my head pounding, trying to piece together how my parents knew about a wedding I'd never heard of, let alone one where my boyfriend was the main event. He strolled in like he hadn't shattered every plate in the sink the night before, glanced at the invitation, and let out a sigh heavy enough to flatten me. "I was going to tell you," he mumbled, grabbing a mug, like this was just another Tuesday. I demanded answers, my voice shaking more than my hands, but he just looked through me, saying it was complicated, saying he owed her family, saying he didn't think it would go this far. The betrayal sat between us, ugly and real, while the RSVP mocked me in my own mother's handwriting. I called my parents, expecting outrage, but instead got a tight-lipped silence that told me everything. Turns out, they'd known for weeks. The other woman was someone from their church, someone they'd always liked, someone they'd quietly hoped he'd end up with instead of me. My own family had RSVP'd yes to my boyfriend's wedding, and I was the last to know. The realization hit, the fight we had last night wasn't about dishes or money or anything small. It was about him choosing someone else, and everyone else quietly agreeing it was the right choice. I packed a bag, numb, but before I left, I scribbled one line on the RSVP, "You don't need my blessing." As I walked out, I realized the real betrayal wasn't just his, it was my own willingness to ignore the signs, to fight for someone who was never really mine. The twist wasn't that he was leaving me for someone else, it was that I'd spent so long convincing myself I was irreplaceable, when I was always just a placeholder, even in my own story.